On Friday, your paycheck hits your account. By the middle of next week, most of it is gone. You probably blame yourself. Bad budgeting, too much takeout, a few impulse buys you shouldn't have made. But the math doesn't actually work. Even people who track every dollar, who cook every meal, who never set foot in a Starbucks, watch their paychecks vanish at almost exactly the same speed. Most people assume the answer is obvious. They're spending too much. They need more discipline, a better budget. But that's not what's happening. The real reason your paycheck disappears is that most of it was never yours to begin with. And the part that is yours is being hunted by systems specifically engineered to find it. Once you see how the machine actually works, you won't be able to unsee it. Before we get into why this happens, let's prove it's actually happening. Because the assumption most people carry is that paycheck-to-paycheck living is a problem for low earners. People with bad jobs, people who never got their break. That's not what the data shows. According to a 2025 Goldman Sachs retirement survey, 40% of Americans earning over $300,000 a year still describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. A separate analysis from PYMTAS found that as of January 2025, half of all high-income earners, defined as those making over $100,000 annually, are in the same position. The phenomenon doesn't get smaller as income grows. It just gets quieter. Meet Tyler. He's 34, works as a marketing manager at a mid-sized tech company, and earns $142,000 a year. His parents raised 3 kids on a combined income of about $65,000 in today's money. They owned a house by their early 30s. They took a real vacation every other summer. They retired with savings. Tyler rents. He has no kids. He drives a car he can't really afford. And at the end of every month, his savings account looks exactly the same as it did at the beginning. The math should work. He earns more than double what his parents did at the same age. But it doesn't work. And Tyler can't figure out why. So where is Tyler's money actually going? And why does it disappear at almost the same speed whether he earns $60,000 or $145,000? The answer starts with a number Tyler has never actually seen. Tyler thinks his paycheck is $4,100 every 2 weeks. That's the number that hits his account every other Friday. That's the number he uses to think about his finances. His actual gross pay is closer to $5,460. Federal income tax takes a chunk. State tax takes another. Social Security and Medicare take their share. Then comes his health insurance premium, dental, vision, his 401k contribution, his HSA. By the time the deposit lands, roughly a quarter of what he earned has already been removed. Tyler never saw it. He never made a decision about it. He just sees the number that's left. But that's only the first deduction layer. The moment Tyler's paycheck lands on Friday morning, a second wave of automatic transfers fires. Rent autopay, car payment, auto insurance, renter's insurance, electric bill, gas, internet, phone, 3 streaming services, the gym, a cloud storage subscription he forgot about, a productivity app he signed up for last year, a meal kit he hasn't used in 2 months. By the time Tyler actually opens his banking app on Saturday morning to see what he has, 71% of what he earned has already been claimed. He didn't budget any of it. He didn't decide any of it. The system pulled it out before he ever had a chance to look. And here's where it gets interesting. According to the 2024 Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Expenditure Survey, the average household spends 33% of their total expenditures on housing, 17% on transportation, 13% on food, 12.5% on insurance and pensions, and 8% on healthcare, added up. That's about 84% of total household spending locked into a handful of categories that almost nobody actively manages on a daily basis. So the discipline question, the one Tyler asks himself every month, isn't being applied to his paycheck. It's being applied to whatever the system left him after it took its cut. He's not budgeting $5,460, he's budgeting maybe $850. And here's what makes it worse, that $850 isn't really discretionary either. Most people think the slice of their paycheck left after rent and bills is free money. Money they could theoretically save if they had more discipline. The $850 Tyler has each month after his fixed costs feels, on paper, like spending money. Money he's choosing what to do with. It isn't. A massive portion of what looks like discretionary spending is actually structurally locked in. Groceries. He has to eat. That's roughly $400 a month. Gas to get to work. That's another $150. Co-pays for the doctor visit he had last month. The prescription he refills every 6 weeks. The vet bill for his dog. The replacement charger for the laptop he uses for work. The dry cleaning. The haircut. The birthday gift for his mom. None of these feel like fixed costs. None of them show up in a budgeting app under fixed expenses. But every single one of them is non-negotiable. In 2003, Elizabeth Warren and Amelia Warren Tyagi wrote a book called The Two-Income Trap. They documented something striking. In the 1970s, fixed costs, things like housing, healthcare, transportation, childcare, and taxes, consumed about 50% of the average household's income. By the early 2000s, that number had climbed to 75%. Today, depending on how you measure it, the figure is closer to 80%. The slice of your income that's actually flexible has been shrinking for 50 years. So when Tyler looks at his $850 of free money each month and asks himself why he can't save more, he's asking the wrong question. Of that $850, maybe $250 is genuinely optional. The rest is fixed cost wearing a flexible costs mask. It looks like a choice. It functions like a bill. This is why budgeting apps don't work. They sort everything into wants versus needs. But in modern life, most of what looks like a want is a need in disguise. The framework itself is broken. Tyler isn't failing at budgeting. He's been handed a problem that can't be solved by the tools he was given. So Tyler's actual room to maneuver isn't $5,460. It's not $850, it's about $250 a month. And that $250 is exactly what the next system is designed to find. Here's where the second part of the answer comes in. The part that explains why the system doesn't just take from you. It tracks you. Prices and product tiers in modern life are not engineered to provide proportional value for what you pay. They're engineered to capture income increases. The bigger your paycheck gets, the bigger the bills get. And it happens automatically, without anyone making the connection visible. Look at rent. Large landlords across the United States increasingly use pricing software that calculates the maximum your local income bracket can pay. The software doesn't ask what the apartment is worth. It asks what you can be made to pay. When local incomes rise, the algorithm raises rents. Your raise becomes their revenue. Look at subscriptions. According to a 2024 study by C+R Research, the average American spends $219 a month on subscription services. The average person estimates they spend $86. That's a 2.5 times perception gap on something happening every month in their own bank account. 8 active subscriptions for the average person, 12 for many households, each one priced just low enough to feel insignificant. 9.99 for one, 14.99 for another, 19.99 for the third. Individually rational. Collectively, almost $2,628 a year on autopilot, mostly forgotten. Look at car payments. According to Experian's State of the Automotive Finance Market report from the fourth quarter of 2025, the average new car payment in the United States is now $767 a month. Almost 19% of new car loans now have monthly payments over $1,000. The average new car loan term is now nearly 69 months, and almost 32% of new loans extend beyond 73 months. The system has been engineered to absorb middle income raises by stretching loan terms longer and longer until the monthly payment fits whatever you're now earning. Look at health insurance. Premium contributions at most large employers are tied to salary bands. The more you make, the more you contribute. A raise often comes with a quiet, unannounced increase in what comes out of your paycheck for the same coverage. Now think back to Tyler. The last time he got a raise, an extra $8,000 a year, his free $250 a month, didn't grow. It got found. His rent renewal came in $90 higher. His car insurance ticked up. His phone plan was upgraded, without him asking. 2 new subscriptions appeared in the months after his raise, both for things he genuinely needed at the time. By the end of the year, the raise was gone, not spent on anything he could remember, just absorbed. This is the mechanism most people never see. Your bills don't just exist, they search, They find your income, and they grow to match it. And the better the system works, the less you notice it happening. So now Tyler understands three things. Most of his paycheck was claimed before he saw it. The remainder isn't really his to control. And the small piece that is, the system finds. But there's one more layer, and it's the one that explains why this feels impossible to escape. Every single component of the system is individually small enough to feel rational. That's not an accident. That's the design. $14.99 for a streaming service feels reasonable. A $50 rent increase feels like normal inflation. A $40 phone plan upgrade feels like progress. A $767 car payment feels like adulthood. None of these numbers, on their own, are large enough to trigger your brain's "this is too much" instinct. They all sit just below the threshold of pain. This is what makes the system invisible. It's not that you're not paying attention, it's that the system has been engineered specifically to slip past attention. Your brain processes financial pain by individual transactions, not by aggregate patterns. You feel a $200 dinner. You don't feel $200 spread across 14 small monthly charges, each one paid silently while you're at work. The behavioral economist Richard Thaler won the Nobel Prize in 2017 in part for his work on something called mental accounting. His research showed that people categorize money by source and destination in ways that make total outflows nearly invisible. We track the dollar we just spent on coffee. We don't track the $219 in subscriptions that left our account at 3 a.m., and the auto-pay layer makes it worse. More than 80% of recurring household charges in modern life are on automatic payment. They never trigger a decision, they never require a yes. The friction that used to make spending feel like spending, the moment of pulling out a wallet, signing a check, handing over cash, has been engineered out of the system entirely. You're not approving these payments anymore. You're just receiving the receipts. This is why Tyler can't fight what's happening. You can't fight a system you can't see. He isn't lacking discipline. He's lacking visibility. The machine has been designed so that the only number visible to him is the one that's too small to matter. The $250 he has left at the end of the month. Everything else has been hidden in plain sight, paid silently, while he was looking at the wrong number. Which brings us back to the question we started with. Why does your paycheck disappear faster than it should? It's not bad budgeting. It's not lack of discipline. It's not too much takeout. It's not your morning coffee. It's not even one big mistake you're making and could fix tomorrow. It's four systems stacked on top of each other. Deductions you don't see, taken before the money ever lands. Fixed costs disguised as discretionary, eating most of what's left. Pricing engineered to match your income, hunting whatever margin you build. And fragmentation designed to keep you from ever seeing the total. Each system, on its own, would be manageable. You could see it. You could push back on it. Together, they explain why someone earning $142,000 a year ends the month at zero, and why the person earning $60,000 next door ends the month at zero too. The systems scale. The outcome doesn't change. The question isn't, why can't I save more? The question is, how much of my paycheck was ever really mine to manage? For most people, the honest answer is, a lot less than they think. So what do you actually do about this? Three things. Starting now, before your next paycheck hits. First, calculate your real take-home. Not your gross. Not what hits your account on Friday. Your real take-home, which is what's left after every automatic deduction and every recurring auto payment has fired. That's your actual operating budget. Most people are budgeting a number that's 3 or 4 times higher than the one they actually control. Once you see the real number, you can stop blaming yourself for failing to manage money you never had. Second, audit every single recurring charge on your accounts, not the obvious ones, all of them. Pull up the last 3 months of statements and write down every charge that repeats. Then, for each one, ask whether you'd actively choose to pay it again today, knowing what you know now. Most people find at least 3 charges they forgot about, and at least 2 more they'd cancel if they had to make the decision again. That alone often frees up $50 to $100 a month that the system was quietly taking. Third, and this is the most important one, the next time you get a raise, a bonus, or any kind of unexpected money, do not let it touch your lifestyle for 90 days. Every dollar that lands in your account during that window goes to investing or savings before the system finds it. Because the system will find it. The only way to keep a raise is to move it out of reach before the rent renewal, the subscription upgrade, and the new car payment all show up to claim it. Your paycheck isn't disappearing. It's being collected, and the only way to keep it is to see the machine before it sees you.